Now, talking about the clinical features of ALL, the clinical features are widespread. Most of the features initially are non-specific and comprise constitutional features like fever, anorexia, irritability, etc. Later on, you will find features of bone marrow involvement and various metastasis related problems coming up. If you look at the distribution of features, there is a table given in Lenczowski. So, and similar table is mentioned in two other textbooks as well, which tells you about the overall clinical and laboratory presenting features in ALL. You find that the common presenting features include fever, which was present in this study in 61% patients, splenomegaly in 63, and both liver and spleen hepatosplenomegaly in 68% cases. In addition, the common symptoms include bleeding manifestation due to thrombocytopenia, bone pain due to periosteal involvement and bone marrow involvement, and lymphadenopathy, which is usually of a generalized lymphadenopathy variety. If you look at the laboratory features, you will find that less than 10,000 WBC count is seen in majority of these patients, despite this being a leukemia. Anemia, which is mild to moderate in present in majority of them, and mild to moderate thrombocytopenia is also present in a significant number of these patients. And as we have discussed before, L1 is the most common variety as was seen in this study. So this is the general pattern that we see, which is mentioned in various books. From entrance point of view, from a simplistic point of view, let us try to remember the clinical features rather than simply going through back and forth as it is mentioned in some of the Western books that you read. We'll do it in a systematic form. So whenever you have to talk about sign and symptoms of ALL, first category will be constitutional symptoms. So whenever a child of ALL comes to you, the features initially are constitutional and non-specific. So these children will have features like low-grade fever, which will often be intermittent in nature. You will have anorexia, you will have irritability, and there will be plus minus loss of weight. Loss of weight is not a significant problem in these patients, although it has been described as a constitutional feature in some of these individuals. After constitutional features, sooner or later you find the involvement of bone marrow. So we have the bone marrow involvement features coming up, which are the actual clue that it is not just simply any other viral illness or some acute illness in the child. It is actually a serious problem. Bone marrow involvement will happen because the blast cells will replace the normal hematopoietic lineages. What we will find is anemia and thrombocytopenia being present in majority of them, although the WBC count tends to remain variable. So if in bone marrow involvement, first you will find anemia in these patients. When there is anemia, there will be manifestations of anemia like pallor, fatigue, shortness of breath, that is dyspnea. Some of these patients, if the anemia is severe, can also have CCF-like manifestations. In case the patients develop leukopenia is not consistently seen, but if the leukopenia is significant and severe and it involves neutrophils, you will have features of recurrent infections being predominant. And when there are recurrent infections, the fever episodes will be high grade. So low grade fever is usually present as a part of constitutional symptom. High grade fever, spiking fever, fever with chills will be reflective of recurrent infections occurring in these patients. And thirdly, you will find that bone marrow involvement will lead to thrombocytopenia. Due to thrombocytopenia, there will be bleeding manifestations occurring in the patient. So there will be petechiae, there will be purpurae, ecchymosis, there will be occurrence of epistaxis, there may be gum bleeds, sometimes there will be subcutaneous bleeds, and black eyes have been described. Many times you will find even GIT bleeds being present in these individuals, and very rarely CNS bleeds can also sometimes be seen. CNS and GI bleeds are the rare manifestations. And many times it's not only a one line involvement or two line involvement, sometimes pancytopenia may also be seen in these individuals. So the second category of features are related to bone marrow involvement. A third group of features are related to the bone involvement. Bone involvement will produce the occurrence of two things. Many of these patients will have bone pain, which is often severe in nature and more at night. And secondly, there will be increased risk of developing pathological fractures, which is usually a relatively late presentation. Now, bone involvement will occur because of infiltration of the bone marrow as well as periosteal involvement. There may be subperiosteal deposits of the leukemic cells, or there may be frank infiltration of the periosteum leading to bone pains in these patients. Fourthly, you will find features due to organ involvement. They are also called as organ infiltration. So organ infiltration will produce features like, first of all, there will be hepatomegaly, there will be splenomegaly, and many of these patients will have both. So they may have hepatosplenomegaly, both of them, HS1. They may also have lymphadenopathy, and if there is mediastinal lymph node involvement, it may sometimes produce a mediastinal mass due to mediastinal lymph node involvement, which can produce a syndrome called as SVC syndrome. So features of superior vena cava syndrome due to obstruction of the superior vena cava can be produced. This is a relatively common presentation in T-cell ALL. The MCQ point on this has been asked. So mediastinal mass producing SVC syndrome is a manifestation of T-cell ALL. It is not seen in the other varieties of ALL. In addition, in organ involvement, there are two organ systems which are particularly important in developing relapses in the patients once treatment is started. So there are two organ systems whose involvement is interesting. One is CNS involvement and second is testicular involvement in case of males. Ovarian involvement is very rare. So testicular involvement and CNS involvement. Now when we talk about CNS involvement, if blast cells gain entry into the CSF, it can produce a state what we call as CSF leukemia. CNS leukemia. Now CNS leukemia is seen in only about 5% cases, but it increases the chances of relapse and requires specific intrathecal therapy for managing the CNS leukemia. When CNS leukemia develops, the clinical features in these patients will be raised intracranial pressure, producing headache and vomiting. There may be seizures occurring in the patient. There may be cranial nerve palsies, etc. Nelson says that although CNS leukemia, CNS involvement in ALL is seen in 5% cases, CNS blasts, CSF blasts may sometimes be found in as high as 10 to 15% cases. On the other hand, testicular involvement, overt testicular involvement is seen in only 1% cases, but subtle occult testicular involvement can be seen in as high as up to 25% patients. Testicular involvement will give the appearance of, it will have the manifestation of unilateral or bilateral testicular masses. But there is no role of routine testicular biopsy. How do we diagnose testicular infiltration of ALL? By doing biopsy. But when will you do biopsy? You will do biopsy only when there is a palpable testicular mass. If there is no mass, there is no role of routine testicular biopsy. This is your MCQ point. Statement based question asked in fellowship entrance exam many years back, but remains relevant even today. And there is a often crude saying that CNS involvement as well as testicular involvement are called as sanctuary sites for ALL. What are sanctuary sites? Sanctuary, like we have sanctuaries for tigers. So those are tiger reserves. They where the tigers are well protected from the normal predators, normal poachers, etc. So those are specific areas which are meant for the protection of the tiger. Similarly, sanctuary sites for ALL are those sites where the cells, the blast cells, can lie latent. They can escape normal routine chemotherapy which is given. They are not always easily detectable, but after therapy has been completed, these cells can arise from there, they can become active there and can produce relapses. So CNS and testicular sites are sometimes called as sanctuary sites. If MCQ asks you sanctuary site kya hota hai, CNS and testis are considered to be the sanctuary sites. Before we go further, there is a past MCQ topic asked in Super Speciality Central Institute exam in PGI. The question was related to T-cell ALL. It was related to T-cell ALL and the risk of testicular involvement. Remember that testicular involvement indicates a extramedullary involvement, and so it will be more common in T-cell ALL compared to pre-B cell and the mature B cell variety. So obviously the question arises, what are the risk factors for testicular involvement in ALL? First, T-cell ALL usually carries a high risk. Secondly, if there is leukocytosis more than 20,000 per millimeter cube, the risk is high. Third, if there is a mediastinal mass. And fourth, if there is moderate to severe hepatosplenomegaly and lymphadenopathy, the risk of testicular involvement is high. And finally, thrombocytopenia with platelet count less than 30,000 per millimeter cube is indicative of testicular involvement in ALL. This is the past PGI Central Institute question. Now, what are the rare manifestations you can find? Their manifestations will be in the form of renal involvement, which can cause hematuria, hypertension and renal failure. They will be more common in T-cell ALL and mature B-cell ALL. Priapism can occur. Priapism will be painful, sustained erection in a male child. It can commonly occur due to clumping of the blast cells in the corpora cavernosa. Many times it can also occur as a type of leukemic-rich cells producing a localized thrombotic dysfunction. Mechanisms can be varied. It is a rare manifestation, but it is mentioned in the standard book, so we need to remember priapism of multiple origins can sometimes be seen in male children with ALL. Then GIT bleeding can manifest. GIT bleeding can be in the form of a fresh bleeding or it can be in the form of occult bleeding. And finally, cardiac, lung and skin involvement have sometimes been described.